Hey everybody, welcome back one more time. It's time for some more nuts and bolts music theory stuff. Try to stay awake. It's nitty gritty with accidentals, half and whole steps, ways that we try to describe with notation and words some of the more subtle and complex things that make up this pitch world, and how we communicate about it, notate it. I want to take you through a couple things about musictheory.net right off the bat and show you a couple of other things. And I think what I'm going to do is mainly go through the assignments to just show you how it's done. I don't know how far I'll get in this first 15-minute segment. But one thing I put in the repository, the content area for this chapter, is just a sheet of paper that looks like this. So it's called staff and keyboard paper. It's really good to be able to understand the geography of the pitch world through the keyboard, as well as maybe some other things, knowing that white keys are your letter name notes and that sort of thing. I actually have people draw the keyboard when they are in my classes and I'm taking a quiz, that kind of thing. And every time I do, I know a lot of people are either elated that it's so easy, insulted that it's so easy, or but I get a few people each semester, college students who don't do this right, and then it's understandable why they don't understand the pitch world. So if you were going to draw a keyboard, you have mainly these groups of black keys. That's the only thing that gives you any reference of for orientation. And I don't draw these that well with my little mouse pen here. So once you get a few each, a pair each of the pair of black keys and the pair or the triolet, a trio of the group of 3 black keys, go from there, right? Each black key has a white key on either side, so I say it like this, draw the little cracks down from the front of the key, in front of the black keys to the front of the key bed. And once you do that, go between the groups of black keys, or where you would have that, and draw your cracks that separate pairs of white keys. So that's one of the things about the pitch world is every white key has a black key between it except for 2 pairs. And it's the pair that is right above B, therefore B and C, and right above E, which is E and F. So Ernie and Bert are not sharp, which means you don't have a black key above Ernie or Bert, E or B. You have immediately a half step above it. In other words, E is F, and immediately half step above B is C. It's not that you can't think of this as E sharp, and you will need to sometimes, but the note directly above F is half the time F sharp, right? Draw that something like that, just to squeeze that in there. The note half step above C is going to be C sharp. And then this black key doesn't have its own letter name per se. It's also referenced another half the time by being a half step below D, and we call that D flat. There's a little flat symbol like that. Am I glad this pen works a little bit better than the last one I tried to use. And of course, a half step below G is G made to be flat. You can interpret the sense of flat as kind of pushing down on something, so making it lower, and the sense of sharp is to make it higher somehow. I don't know what you want to do there. Alphabetical order obtains in the pitch world. You should use it to help you understand things, but be able to go quickly and say, okay, what's that key right there? Oh, it's in the middle of the group of 3 black keys, and it's the one on the right, so that's an A. Quick, what's this? Oh, it's in the middle of the group of 2 black keys. Must be a D. So if you can practice doing that, practice your keyboard orientation like this, it'll be good. Let's clear this page here. Another thing that's a tool you might want to avail yourself of is some of the things in musictheory.net. Let's go to that now. What I have to do is go to this, then get rid of that, now go to this. One of the things, get to the pop-up piano here in a minute, in musictheory.net. As I said, it's divided into lessons, exercises, and tools. You can actually augment or even replace some of the lessons you get in the book with this. I don't know how effective it's going to be. If you need a checkup from the neck up about staffs, clefs, and ledger lines, that's what we're dealing with here. And then we're dealing with a couple other things. As you can see, the subject matter here is a little bit more involved than where we are right now. So you get to some quite involved things, as a matter of fact. But for pitch, that's about where we are here in lessons. But in exercises, there's a number of good things. We studied the note identification one. There's fourth space in the treble clef. That's F-A-C-E. Right, so, and it's got a flat next to it, so it would be E flat, and it tells me it's correct. Then these down here might be helpful to knowing the staff and notes on it. Something like note construction. I got a treble clef, I got a B natural, but really what they want me to do is to spell a B flat. So I take away that natural and add the flat, submit the answer, and it's right. B sharp, well, it is a B, but it's got B flat, so I change the X now to a sharp, submit the answer. They want a G flat, so I would move this note down 2 notes and change the sharp to a flat. What's the value of this? I don't know. You would want to set up, by the way, a mixture of clefs. Grand staff's probably the best way to do it, as a matter of fact. Where you get to sort of seeing the clef as both a bass and a treble clef thing, which is what you have anyway, right? Let's be honest about it. I've got my little piano here, and here's middle C, and everything below it is there, and that'd be mainly in your bass clef, right? And then the octaves above C are here basically. So it's a good way to envision the pitch world like this. Let's look at another one. Relating the keyboard to notation and getting used to naming these things. Boy, you could do no better than trying to get good at doing this quickly and accurately. Okay, so there's an F. It's the one right above F. It's either an F sharp or G flat. I think either one will work for this. Boom. What do you get there? Ooh. And it's actually the same note name. It's just an octave below. So they're not delineating octave numbers here, but this. And I don't know what the settings are going to show us here, but that'd be F. Now, one thing they don't have there is the enharmonic equivalent that could be. We'll get more to that later. One more exercise here is the reverse of that, which is, here it is on the staff. Can you play it on the keyboard? Again, I don't think octave is specified here, so I know this is a bass clef C sharp. Probably here would be the sense that it's lower on the keyboard, but I bet if I played this one, it would still work. Yeah, either one would work. Here's a really high A sharp. So there's my highest A sharp here, but I bet if I play this A sharp, it will be fine. And this could be this A sharp. It would just be in the upper part of the piano, like that. And speaking of the piano, one of the things you have in tools is the pop-up piano. There's a couple of cool things here. There's a little metronome tempo tapper. There's a staff paper generator if you should need that. You can also look up freestaffpaper.com or something like that. Print out your own staff paper if you should need any of it. But the pop-up piano is kind of cool. One thing you do is you get the tempo to look at. and you get a bigger picture than what I've got here. I really wish my MIDI keys thing had this available to it. But this allows me to play on my other keyboard like that. And then if you want to not hear it but mark things on it, you can do this. And that would show me what the notes of smoke on the water are for the upper part of the power chords. Let's go to chapter 2 and look at a few things. I think I'll just start by going through what's in the worksheet. I'll probably get through a bit of the first one before we have to go to the next video. I see I have 4 minutes left here. So, go to my book e-reader. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the worksheet that I think I have already as a PDF. And you have these too now in the content area. What I'll be doing is putting up these worksheets like this in the content area. And you can either mark with Acrobat or something like that on there. How you do that with notes, I don't know how we're going to do that. So or I think what you're going to have to do when we get to writing note heads is print it out and write in with hand drawing it. I don't have it figured out yet how I can use a notation program, but it's not for having considered it at length. Assignment 2.1 starts with identifying pitches on the piano. All the white keys have just one item that they're looking for, and all the black keys have a pair of items that they're looking for. So I'm going to select this pen here and say, okay, there's the white key that I know is G, and I'll go ahead and draw a G in like this. Capital letter for that is fine. Here's the black key between G and A, so what kind of either G or A is it? It's a half step above G, so that would be G sharp, or a half step below A, and that's going to render it as an A flat. And you write the name of these pitches together with their octave number. Right? And in the blank staff below, the blank beneath each, oh, you write the answer. So bass clef, good to remember that. Easy to forget that. It's a low space C for all cows eat grass, and it's got a sharp next to it. It's in the octave below middle C, so it's still in the 3rd octave. And this is in that same octave, so I can go ahead and do that. I know it's a top line A from Girls Buy Diamonds from Africa, or I might know that this is the F line, the F clef, that's the 3rd above it, and it's going to be an A flat. A flat is a different pitch altogether than A. And it's just unfortunate that we have to share the letter names between these things in order to name them. What else is on this sheet? Go away from this, go away from this, go away from this. At the bottom of the sheet, I've got about a minute left here. Writing accidentals. Just get practice writing flats and sharps. Remember, the flat is always centered so that the belly of the flat is in line with the note head, right? And I'm doing that with moderate success here with my little MIDI pen. And the sharp, the cross hatches are centered where the note head is. So some are space notes, some are line notes. That changes the way the sharp looks a good bit. Right? But you want the middle of the tic-tac-toe board to line up with the note head. It's actually a pretty big deal for notating things. Go back to the worksheet here, and they want to know if I can name these per octave as well as per pitch name, and they show us a reference octave here. If that's C4, there's the F below it. It's in the 3rd octave. That's F3. Here's a B flat or an A sharp that's also in octave 3. Be like that. I'll see you on the other side. I'll see you when we get to the other video, and we'll go through the rest of the worksheets.